Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to my channel, where I share with you the wisdom of the ancient Stoics and how you can apply it to your modern life. Today, I'm going to show you 9 Stoic lessons to not give people a second chance. Sounds harsh, right? Well, not for the Stoics, who believe that giving people a second chance is often a mistake that leads to more pain and disappointment. They taught us how to be rational, virtuous, and self-reliant, and how to avoid being fooled, manipulated, or betrayed by others. So, let's dive into these 9 Stoic lessons to not give people a second chance, inspired by some of the greatest Stoic thinkers like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. Lesson number 1. The mastery of emotions for clear judgment. The first lesson to not give people a second chance is to master your emotions for clear judgment. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By this, he meant that you should not let your emotions cloud your judgment, and that you should take time to think before you act. When someone hurts you, you may feel angry, sad, or guilty, and you may want to give them a second chance out of pity, hope, or love. But these emotions can blind you to the reality of the situation and make you ignore the red flags and the warning signs. By mastering your emotions, you will be able to see things as they are, and not as you wish them to be. You will be able to make rational decisions based on facts, not feelings. Lesson number 2. Don't confuse forgiveness with reconciliation. The second lesson to not give people a second chance is to not confuse forgiveness with reconciliation. Epictetus said, "It is not the things themselves that disturb people, but the judgments that they form about them." By this, he meant that you should not let your judgments affect your peace of mind, and that you should learn to accept what you cannot control. When someone hurts you, you may feel resentment, bitterness, or hatred, and you may want to hold a grudge or seek revenge. But these judgments can disturb your inner peace and make you suffer more than the person who hurt you. By forgiving, you will be able to let go of the past and not let it define you. You will be able to free yourself from the burden of hatred and not be enslaved by it. But forgiving does not mean reconciling. You can forgive someone without giving them a second chance. You can forgive someone without trusting them again. You can forgive someone without being friends with them again. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. Lesson number 3. Don't compromise your values or standards. The third lesson to not give people a second chance is to not compromise your values or standards. Marcus Aurelius said, "Whatever happens, keep to your own nature." You can do this if you are aware of your own actions and the actions of others, and if you do nothing against your own conscience. By this, he meant that you should not let external events or people change who you are, and that you should act in accordance with your own nature and conscience. When someone hurts you, you may feel tempted to lower your expectations, to settle for less, or to change yourself to please them. But these compromises can erode your self-esteem, your self-respect, and your self-worth. By holding on to your values and standards, you will be able to maintain your dignity and integrity, and not lose your identity and self-respect. You will be able to respect yourself, and not let anyone disrespect you. Lesson number 4. Don't expect people to change. The fourth lesson to not give people a second chance is to not expect people to change. Epictetus said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." By this, he meant that you should not impose your wishes on reality, but rather adapt your wishes to reality, and that you will be happier if you do so. When someone hurts you, you may hope that they will change, that they will apologize, or that they will make it up to you. But these expectations can lead to disappointment, frustration, and resentment. By accepting people as they are, you will be able to avoid unrealistic expectations and not set yourself up for failure. You will be able to deal with people as they are, and not as you want them to be. Lesson number 5. Don't be afraid to say no. The fifth lesson to not give people a second chance is to not be afraid to say no. Seneca said, "It is a great thing to know how to be self-sufficient." By this, he meant that you should not depend on others for your happiness, your security, or your well-being, and that you should be able to rely on yourself. When someone hurts you, you may feel pressured to say yes, to give in, or to go along. But these concessions can undermine your autonomy, your confidence, and your happiness. By saying no, you will be able to assert your boundaries, your needs, and your preferences, and not compromise your values and principles. You will be able to stand up for yourself and not let anyone walk over you. Lesson number 6. Don't forget the lessons of the past. The sixth lesson to not give people a second chance is to not forget the lessons of the past. Marcus Aurelius said, "Remember that all is opinion." By this, he meant that you should not take anything for granted, and that you should question your assumptions and beliefs. When someone hurts you, you may forget the lessons of the past and repeat the same mistakes. You may forget the signs, the patterns, or the consequences. But these oversights can prevent you from learning and growing, and make you stuck in a cycle of pain and regret. By remembering the lessons of the past, you will be able to avoid repeating the same mistakes and make better decisions. You will be able to learn from your experiences and not waste your time and energy. Lesson number 7. Don't be a slave to your impulses. The seventh lesson to not give people a second chance is to not be a slave to your impulses. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." By this, he meant that you should not let your impulses control you, but rather you should control your impulses, and that you will be free if you do so. When someone hurts you, you may act on your impulses and do things that you may regret later. You may act out of anger, fear, or lust. But these impulses can harm you and others, and make you lose your freedom and happiness. By mastering your impulses, you will be able to act with reason, virtue, and self-control. You will be able to do what is right, and not what is easy. Lesson number 8. Don't take anything for granted. The eighth lesson to not give people a second chance is to not take anything for granted. Seneca said, "Nothing is ours except time." By this, he meant that you should not attach yourself to anything or anyone, and that you should value your time above all else. When someone hurts you, you may take things for granted and waste your time and energy on them. You may take your health, your wealth, or your relationships for granted. But these things are not guaranteed, and they can change or disappear at any moment. By appreciating what you have, you will be able to live in the present and not dwell on the past or the future. You will be able to enjoy your life and not waste it. Lesson number 9. Don't forget your role in the world. The ninth and final lesson to not give people a second chance is to not forget your role in the world. Marcus Aurelius said, "What is your vocation? To be a good person." By this, he meant that you should not forget your purpose in life, and that you should strive to be a good person. When someone hurts you, you may forget your role in the world and neglect your duties and responsibilities. You may forget your family, your friends, or your community. But these are the people who need you, who support you, and who love you. By remembering your role in the world, you will be able to fulfill your potential and contribute to the common good. You will be able to be a good person and not a bad one. That's it for today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed these 9 Stoic lessons to not give people a second chance, inspired by some of the greatest Stoic thinkers. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel for more Stoic wisdom. Also, let me know in the comments below which of these lessons resonated with you the most and how you plan to apply them in your life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.